Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli. Welcome to my October 2019 horoscope report for you. It is my intention with this video to give you what you'll need to make the most of the stars this month. There will be challenges, and I will offer information on how you can make the most of those, and there will be sweet spots, and I will give you dates and all the things that you need to make the most of those. So definitely also check out AnnieHelpsYou.com for more free resources and all kinds of other things to help you on your starry journey. If you are in resonance with how I teach and you want to learn, then you can also check out at AnnieHelpsYou.com my astrology apprenticeship program. Definitely go to RadicalPrayerBook.com to check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which is a book of radical prayers and affirmations that will help you create the life of your dreams. It is an Amazon bestseller, and it is a beloved companion to my fellow spiritual seekers, or so I have heard from many people. So what is in the stars for you this month? Hello Aquarius friends, welcome to my October 2019 horoscope report for you. October is a very interesting month in the way that it is wrapping up the end of this wide open window that we had starting in the middle of August for launches, pushing things forward into the world in a big way, making big decisions, having clarity. So the first almost half of the month of October is still in that window where we have this freedom from these personal planet retrogrades. Then starting October 12th, it marks the descent into the Mercury retrograde that officially begins October 31st. It's retrograde in Scorpio until November 20th, and then the post-transit shadow period lasts until December 9th. So basically from October 12th to December 9th, where the tides are coming in, I always liken this to if you're on a deserted island and you're trying to get off the island and you're going to push your boat out and paddle it out, if the tide's coming in, it's going to be really hard to get things launched and pushed out. It's a time more of coming inward within yourself and things closer to you. Scorpio energies, which are going to be dominating this month and beyond this month, are really very, very emotional, highly emotional. So there are some conflicts here for Aquarius placements because Aquarius energy is very mental. It's very intellectual. And sometimes those energies don't move very sweetly. But you do have this month some wonderful energies of Libra making beautiful aspects to those intellectual and air energies. So you have those boosts going on, and at the same time, this theme of Scorpio going in deep with the emotional centers really starting to activate. Okay, so if you have to do important things and you're sure about them, the time until around October 12th is more clear. If you're content to wait before pushing things out because it doesn't feel like it's time and things need more work, you're going to have a really sweet launching pad between December 9th and early February. And that will be the last open window, wide, big open window for pushing things out into the world, because 2020 is going to be a year of retrogrades. It doesn't mean you can't do anything. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. There will be some popping up for air points, which I will be navigating you through, through the whole year. But it is going to be the longest stretch of uninterrupted clarity from personal planet retrogrades between December 9th and the beginning of February. So the way that I see October 12th through December 9th is really going in, wrapping up loose ends, being the earthworm, moving through things that need to be dealt with, kind of taking some steps back so that you can make the most of that open window to push things forward again. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is that there are going to be lots of aspects with the planet Uranus. The planet Uranus is known for bringing surprises, things out of the blue. And sometimes those surprises are happy, and sometimes those surprises are challenging. But because this month the oppositions are going to be the aspect that Uranus is, bringing, being invigorated, oppositions tend to pull people in two different directions. So they tend to be overstimulating, and they can be very exciting. So that can be like something exciting and it's overstimulating and it's excessive and it drains you because it's so exciting in a good way. That definitely can happen. And in the areas of love and money, that's definitely going to be coming up in a big way. But sometimes there are jostles to those areas and other areas of life when there are Uranus oppositions that aren't as welcome. And at bare minimum, your electric circuits are, feeling like you have your finger stuck in an electric socket. So the areas of life that are going to be coming up the most for Aquarius with these oppositions for the personal planets coming into this 180-degree configuration has to do with communication, transportation. It has to do with your mobility, like your physical mobility, walking, exercising, like your capacity to be mobile. It also has to do with information. So writing, editing, sharing, working on other people's writing, the intake of information and the output of information are fields of experience that are being highlighted for Aquarius with these oppositions. So I expect a lot of creative potentials. If you are a person who has been wanting to write or wanting to vocally express or wanting to express in some other way, this can be a very active month for you. It can be a very busy, prolifically creative month for you. Some conflicts or surprises could arise with things having to do with your car, with your phone, your communication devices. There could be jolts to communication between you and other people. So your romantic partner, your business partners. Also for Aquarius, the like siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, those kind of things. News can come in, surprising news about them or involving them, or surprising interactions with them, things like that. It's definitely a time to be much more careful with your physical being as it relates to moving around. Because of these surprising energies like jolts, like accidents, things like that, there's more chaotic energy around. And again, you're not doomed to have any of those things happen. It doesn't have to manifest that way, and for many people it won't. But because it increases the likelihood of chaos in those realms, the presence, so not texting while driving, paying attention, trying to be calm while driving, not texting while biking or walking, and, just having more awareness of your physical body is going to really be helpful at this time. Opportunities could come with long distance places, so different international opportunities. You could also have, a chance to travel. Sometimes those travel plans could come abruptly as well, or they could be things that were already planned that are being followed through with. This can also have to do with international business that has nothing to do with you traveling, but is occurring with you just staying at your house. Things with different cultures, different countries, different languages, also publishing projects. If you are someone who's been wanting to write a book, or you have books or any kind of writing project, that could come into the forefront and be involved with these surprises or things out of the blue. Anything involving teaching or learning could also come in a big way. So you could be in a school program and these Uranus transits could come in and you could say, whoa, I am not on the right track here. And you could just have these sudden insights and make a sudden decision. It could also manifest that you abruptly realize you need to study something in a big way and you get involved in a school program. In general, short-term, like 6 to 9 month courses that have some flexibility to them are best for committing after, as we get mid-month, mid-October and on until, into the beginning of December. It's better to have shorter-term commitments that have flexibility so that as you have shifts in things going on for you, you can still utilize the course or it can still flow with the changes that are definitely going to come. There's a lot of energy having to do with your subconscious programs. Now, this is a big topic for me because I've devoted a lot of my life for myself and the people I help to understanding how our subconscious programs are affecting our current reality and how we can use, change, tweak, enhance the things that we believe to create the things that we want. So along with these Uranus oppositions, there are also going to be a lot of squares that the personal planets, and when I say the personal planets, I mean the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, the ones that are closest to us on the Earth, those are personal planets. So they tend to manifest more obviously. The aspects with those planets tend to be right in our faces where you can see them. They're not as deep, esoteric, harder to figure out. Even if they're with one of those an aspect with one of those planets, something about these inner or personal planets making aspects really bring it into our mundane reality. So those planets are going to be having conflictive aspects with Pluto, Saturn, and transiting South Node. I'm talking about these more lately, but these planets are like lords of karma. They're heavy hitters in the storylines that we brought to this very moment. In this very moment, you could be sitting here just in the bliss of the moment. And what you're bringing to that moment is a lot of the past. And these lords of karma are showing us how we're doing that. It's ancestral, so it's through the bloodline. I believe that we don't just take on the physical traits of our ancestors or the medical traits that we're seeing now through genetic testing. I believe that we take on belief systems and karmic experiences through the bloodline. And I've tracked that very, 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 very strongly through reading charts, where we can see what we're working with is not just what we're standing at this very moment with. We could change our mind every moment and try to have a clean slate, but those subconscious, those deep programs are weaving their way through our lives. So as these personal planets make aspects with these lords of karma, you have opportunities to recognize that there's an old belief and clear it. Make positive changes that can affect your present, your future, and actually even the past, which that's a whole other topic. But in any case, this is a month that's very rich with conflict, stress, and pressure to crack you out of the matrix. Now, again, remember, I did say, and it is true, that for an air sign like you, as the planets, personal planets, move through the air signs, they bring beautiful, sweet kisses to your placements, and those are going to be happening. And at the same time, those planets are going to make these kind of jarring aspects. So do expect, we'll call it opportunities for change. And that's how I see these. You know, I don't fear them. I look at them like stress points that cause you to finally do something. Like, for instance, you have a dog barking next door all the time. You can't do anything about it. It's out of your control. And then all of a sudden you have that awareness. Okay, I guess there's something inside of me where I can't create having peace. Because let's say you moved because you had a dog barking at your last house, and now you have a dog barking at this house. What is the common denominator? It's that belief system or that nervous system programming that calls out from the ethers the recreation of a pattern that is a storyline. And now you realize, wow, okay, so I can't just move to get away from this. I have to clear it out from the inside out. So you'll have a lot of opportunities for that this month. There are quite a few other things that I want to share with you, but in order to do that in the way I'd like to do it, I want to show you the charts. So in summary, Aquarius has lots of opportunities for sweet kisses this month from the beautiful aspects. There are lots of opportunities to crack the matrix of your previous experience, and unfulfilling aspects of your life can crack open. There's going to be a raw, honest, emotional theme that's starting, that's going to be present for a couple of months, that will bring you into the world of feeling in a bigger way. And there will be lots of surprises that can come in the form of genius ideas, prolific creative expression, and or surprising interactions with some of your relatives. All right, so now I'm going to show you the charts, and we're going to look at a little more detail as to how these lineups are coming in, and how, depending on where you're at in the Aquarius placements, how you might see some shifts. Okay, so I'm going to give you the visual for some of the things that we talked about, also give you more information as to how the energies can manifest for you in October. So some of the things I talk about will be true for all Aquarius placements, but some will be broken down into early, middle, and late. So let's see where you are. If you're early, you are January born, or 0 to 9 degrees, middle around February 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees, and late around February 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. If you have an Aquarius moon or Aquarius rising, this is for you equally as for the sun placements. The sun horoscope, the moon horoscope, the rising horoscope are all windows out of the experience of that individual that will be relevant and will be true at the same time. So it's just different layers of truths. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, let's just use the middle degree chart to do this, has to do with, like, what is it that we're looking at? Okay, so these 12 pie pieces are fields of experience that we have as humans. So as the planets move through these experiences, they bring things true to their personality of the planet and true to the energy of the sign with them as they move through the arena of life. Okay, so these are all fields of experience. These planets are moving at different rates. Some of them take, like, for instance, I always liken it to a running track at a park where there's like an athlete. That's the moon. The moon takes like 27 days to move around the track. But then Pluto takes like 240 years to move around the track. That's like the old guy with the hip replacement. So at any given moment, it's a snapshot of where everybody's at. And all of the planets have personalities, and they bring with them certain things. I always imagine when I'm doing horoscopes that there's a party, that there's parties. And the planets bring their personality to the party, and the mood they're in or the type of party it is true to the sign, and the place they're having the party is the house. The planets that we tend to look at most in monthly horoscopes are the ones that move the fastest, because they're the ones that are changing every month. So that is the moon, the sun, Venus, Mercury, Mars, rather, and then moon. But these planets, they move really slowly. So month to month, there's not always huge changes. But what does happen is planets can come and get locked into mathematical configuration with these slower moving planets, and those can tend to bring certain things. So when we're looking at the horoscope, that's what we're looking for. So the first thing that we can see when we look at the late, the early, and the middle, something that is in common here, is that this 8th house is lit up. You can see early, you can see middle, you can see late. So it's kind of like, again, the party analogy, where there are different people at the party. So for the late degree placements, you have the sun, Venus, and Mercury at the party in the 8th house. And then for the middle degree placements, you've got, at the beginning of the month, all these 4, but this one is about to move on. So this one's about to leave and go home. And for the early degree placements, your party has these. So, it's a little bit different of an experience, but collectively, what we can say is true for everyone is that this 8th house is accentuated. And this 8th house has to do with shared resources, including money, but also other resources. And so this is basically the house of other people's money. So all Aquarius people are having that sector lit up. So this has to do with winning money, sweepstakes, lottery, inheritances, debt, taxes, loans, you loaning someone money or you getting loaned money. All those kind of things are likely to come into question or come up in the forefront at this time. The other thing to note is that the party in a house or in a field of experience tends to happen for early degree placements sooner than it does the other degree placements. So that means that as this party in the 8th house, with all those things I listed, is starting to disband, all the party goers are starting to move here. Then the party, those same people that were at the party, they're staying longer in the middle degree. So all of this 8th house stuff is going to last longer for those of you in the middle. And for you late degree placements, while the party is really starting to crank in the 9th house, for the earlier degree placements, you will have a longer story of the 8th house. So in the upcoming weeks, as the early degree placements start moving on from that party, for longer into November, and you're going to have this 8th house party going on. So a lot of times you'll have the same experiences, but it's just staggered as to when you have them. So that's why you might notice, if you're a late degree person, why there might seem to be some inaccuracies for horoscopes, or you just can't quite resonate, because usually astrologers are looking at early, sometimes middle, but one of these earlier charts, so the picture looks different for you guys at the end there. And for you guys at the end there, so like the last 10 days of the sign, or like 20 to 29 degrees, I do recommend that you also experiment with watching my Pisces report and the Pisces reports of other astrologers, because if I always will speak to the late degree placements, but the things I talk about for the early degree Pisces might be more true for you guys. So you experiment with that, you can see. And then if there are astrologers that use charts that are earlier degrees and you're a late degree person, then your chart's actually going to look more like the next sign, the early degree of the next sign. So that's just a little trick that I found that could help astrology be more relevant for you and help the timing to be more accurate. All right, so the other thing that we can see is that the 9th house is either currently right at the beginning of October or about to be shifting into the 9th house for you early, middle, and late degree people. Right, so the intensity for the 9th house focus is going to get stronger over time for your middle and late degree placements, while right at the beginning of the month of October, your early degree placements are roaring in the 9th house. All right, so the things I'm about to talk about are going to be true for all of y'all, but you can see now that it will be staggered a little bit. 9th house focus brings, and actually before we talk about that, all of those things I talked about with the planets coming and opposing Uranus, accentuating these 3rd and 9th houses, locking into mathematical configuration, as all of these planets get to 5 degrees of Scorpio, they're going to lock into this mathematical configuration with Uranus. That's bringing those surprises, those jolts that we talked about. So these 9th and 3rd houses are going to be really accentuated with those oppositions for early, middle, and even late degree placements. You late degree placements might also have some of those jolts and surprises in the 8th house, but all of you have the chance to have them in the 9th house. So the 9th house has to do with, and what you'll likely see brought into the forefront, is publishing, with Venus there or about to be there. Money, having to do with money in the 9th house, so international business, travel, earning money by talking to international clients. Like for instance, my Venus is in my 9th house natally, so my work is international all the time, and I publish books, right? And I teach, and I go to different countries and travel around, and so that is my life, right? Because that's like my natal chart is there all the time. But when we're looking at it in transit, it brings those things into the forefront for the time that they're there. If you have those placements in your natal chart or something in your natal chart, then it can be a theme for you for your lifetime. If it's not, then it will just be a theme that's brought up during the time the planets move through there, a temporary thing. But in any case, publishing, speaking, teaching, learning, you might find teaching programs or learning, education programs. And even though Mercury retrograde is not always the best time to commit to something very long term, if there's an education program that's like no more than 6 to 9 months, or if there's flexibility in it, if it's go at your own pace or something like that, then October, all month, can be a great time to commit to an education program. And you might find the perfect one as well. You might find yourself traveling internationally. This is, again, for all Aquarius placements. Or having someone from a different country come to matter for you, and this actually can even be romantic. Sometimes Venus showing up in the 9th house can mean love abroad or love with someone in the international scene. So that's going to be current in October for all of you. It's just going to be staggered as far as, as the weeks go on. This will get more relevant for you, middle to later degree placements. The opposition
with Uranus brings up this third house. And the third house is also writing and can be learning, gathering information, sharing information. This can also be siblings, relatives that are not your parents or kids, are very highlighted here. So surprises in their world, surprises of them joining in your world, conflicts, resolutions, ideas. This also has to do with communication and transportation. So your cars, and how you go about communicating. Jolts to that, for better or worse, insights to that. Well, a really busy month in the communication and transportation and travel fronts. Jupiter has a few more months for your early degree placements in the 11th house. You'll have longer depending on your middle degree placement, and you'll have even longer with Jupiter still in the 10th house. So that means that for late degree placements, Jupiter hasn't even expanded the 11th house yet. And for some of you middle degree placements, you still could have quite a bit of 11th house expansion coming. But for you early degree placements, your Jupiter in the 11th house expansion is getting ready to be over, and then Jupiter will move to the next house. So Jupiter is the great benefic. It brings expansion wherever it goes. The 11th house expansion can come from expansion of friendship networks, social media, internet-based projects, technology, patents, things like that, humanitarian efforts, your place in a group, leading groups, teaching groups, working within groups, being part of a large organization or working with one. So luck or benevolence or expansion in any of those things. So if you've been wanting to get your business online, Jupiter has been giving you oomph to do that. And so that could happen, and that could be, I like it better not in the Mercury retrograde time to launch, but you could be working in the backdrop. And then you early degree placements, as Jupiter moves to the 12th house, this is going to really expand your intuition. So we'll talk more about that as it gets closer. But you middle and late degree friends, you still have quite a bit of anywhere from a little to a lot of time with Jupiter expanding your friendships. If you're trying to find your tribe, you're trying to, get more like-minded friends, things like that, Jupiter can help you with that. In general, as the planets are moving through Libra, they are kissing your Aquarius placement, so you have lots of beautiful aspect potentials there. But after the first week, most of that is finished. That most of that took place in September. You've got a tail end of that with Venus and Mercury. Again, I'm using the early chart, but I'm talking about all of you. And then the sun is going to come and still kiss all those placements. But as the planets move into Scorpio, that is more awkward for you. So this is going to be a very emotional month, and you might have to backtrack to go deep within to do some things that might not seem like you're making progress in order to make more progress in the future.
So definitely go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, which will give you access a month ahead to a written version of the general transit so that you have those dates and all that information for your planning. Definitely, if you're interested in learning more about astrology, you can check out my Astrology Basics and Beyond course. And if you want to go deeper, if you think I go into details in the videos, you should see my Astrology Apprenticeship program. So you can see more about that and my other vocational assistance, including a Creating Successful Online Business course. You can check all of that out at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Definitely go to my husband's website, B.R. Newman, which is IamHelios, IamHelios.com. And definitely pick up my book, Radical Prayer. Transform your life in the world in 28 days. You can go to radicalprayerbook.com or search for Radical Prayer and Annie Botticelli on Amazon. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month.